Welcome to the Highcrest Audible. Each week you'll hear something new. It might be a short story, a non-fiction text, the next chapter of a novella, a narrative poem, a legend from an ancient civilization, or even a scene from a play. This half-term, we're immersing ourselves in the audio play of The Importance of Being Earnest, brought to us by the Highcrest Academy Drama Club. As always, at the end of every reading, you'll be asked one question. Get it right and your form group earns house points. All it takes is for one member of your form to find Mr. Howes, state the accompanying word of the week, and provide him with the answer. Now, on to this week's episode. Enjoy. The morning room at the manor house. Everything is unsettled. Gwendolen and Cecily stand together.
The fact that they did not follow us at once suggests they feel some shame.
They were eating muffins. That looks like repentance.
Could you cough?
I do not have a cough.
Mr. Worthing, I have something to ask you.
Mr. Moncrief, why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother?
So that I might meet you.
That is a very beautiful answer.
Yes, if one believes it.
I do not, but it sounds convincing.
Mr. Worthing, why did you pretend to have a brother?
So that I might come to London to see you.
That does have the appearance of truth.
And Mr. Moncrief's voice inspires confidence.
Then we forgive them?
Yes. No.
Quite right.
Your Christian names are still an inseparable barrier.
Our names?
We are going to be christened this afternoon.
For my sake?
Yes.
For me?
Of course.
How noble men are when they are determined.
Yes. They are capable of great courage.
Lady Bracknell.
Gwendolen, what does this mean?
I am engaged to Mr. Worthing.
You are nothing of the kind. And Algernon?
Yes, Aunt Augusta?
Is this where your invalid friend probably lives?
No, Bunbury is elsewhere.
Indeed. And how is he?
Dead.
Dead?
Yes, this afternoon.
I am glad he's finally decided. And who is this young lady?
This is Miss Cecily Cardew, my ward.
I am engaged to her.
Engaged?
Yes.
Mr. Worthing, does Miss Cardew have a fortune?
Yes, about £130,000.
Cecily, my dear child, come here. You are most attractive. I entirely approve.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
You may marry her.
Thank you, Aunt Augusta.
I do not give my consent.
Upon what grounds?
I do not approve of Mr. Moncrief's behaviour.
That is extremely unfair.
He deceived my ward and drank my champagne.
I shall overlook it.
My decision remains.
Then I refuse your marriage of Gwendolen.
Everything is ready for the christenings.
Christenings? At that age?
Miss Prism is waiting.
Miss Prism? Prism? What is that baby?
I do not know.
28 years ago, you disappeared with a baby.
In a moment of distraction, I placed the baby in a handbag and left it in a railway station. Which station? Victoria, the Brighton line. Is this the bag? Yes, it is mine. Then I was the baby. You? Yes, Mother!
Mr. Worthing, I am unmarried.
Unmarried? Mother, I forgive you.
Mr. Worthing, there is some error. There is the lady who can tell you who you really are.
Lady Bracknell, I hate to seem inquisitive, but would you kindly inform me who I am?
I am afraid that the news I've got to give you will not altogether please you. You are the son of my poor sister, Mrs. Moncrief, and consequently, Algernon's elder brother.
Algie's the elder brother. Then I have a brother after all. I knew I had a brother. I always said I had a brother. Cecily, how could you have ever doubted I had a brother? Algie, you young scoundrel, you will have to treat me with more respect in the future. You have never behaved to me like a brother in all your life.
Well, not until today, I admit. I did my best, though I was out of practice.
My own! But what own are you? What is your Christian name now that you've become someone else?
Good heavens! I had quite forgotten that point. Your decision on the subject of my name is unchangeable, I suppose.
I never change, except in my affections.
What a noble nature you have, Gwendolen.
Then the question had better be cleared up at once. Aunt Augusta, a moment. At the time when Miss Prism left me in the handbag, had I been christened already?
Every luxury that money could buy, including christening, has been lavished on you by your fond and doting parents.
Then I was christened. That is settled. Now, what name was I given? Let me know the worst.
Being the eldest son, you were naturally christened after your father.
Yes, but what was my father's Christian name?
I cannot at the present moment recall what the general Christian's name was, but I've no doubt he had one. He was exquisite, I admit, but only in later years.
Algie! Can't you recollect what our father's Christian name was?
My dear boy, we were never even speaking on terms. He died before I was a year old.
His name would appear in the army list of the period, I suppose, Aunt Augusta.
The general was essentially a man of peace, except in his dramatic life. But I've no doubt his name would appear in any military directory.
The army lists of the last 40 years are here in this house. These delightful records should have been my constant study. Generals, Muscle, Malgin. What ghastly names they have. Mosby, Migsby, Moncrief. General Christian names. I always told you, Gwendolen, my name was Ernest, didn't I? Well, it is Ernest after all. I mean, it naturally is Ernest.
Yes, I remember now. The general was called Ernest. I knew I had some particular reason for disliking the name.
Ernest! My own Ernest! I felt from the first that you could have no other name.
Gwendolen, it is a terrible thing for a man to find out suddenly that all his life he had been speaking nothing but the truth. Can you forgive me?
I can, for I feel that you are sure to change.
My own one.
My nephew, you seem to be displaying signs of tragedy.
On the contrary, Aunt Augusta, I've now realized for the first time in my life the vital importance of being earnest.
We've just heard the final episode of The Importance of Being Earnest by Oscar Wilde, where every lie, invention and misunderstanding finally collapses into one extraordinary revelation. The missing handbag returns, Jack discovers his true family, and the absurd world Wilde has built somehow resolves itself with impossible perfection. After all the pretending, all the disguises, and all the confusion over names, the truth turns out to have been there from the very beginning. So here's your final question. What is Jack's real first name revealed to be at the end of the play? When you've got your answer, find Mr. Howes, tell him this week's word of the week, and your answer to that question. Have a great week.